All right. Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom to the Torah tribes, Yasha Allah. Giving, of course, all learning, glory, and praise unto Yahweh. Baha Shema Mashak Abashah. That's all praises, honor, and glorification unto the Most High God, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Mahashiach Abashah, the righteous. All right. Shalom, shalom. I'm going to get straight into this. This is going to be a fairly quick video, Lord willing, through the Spirit. All right, but this is touching on Proverbs chapter 22, verses 1 through 6. All right, Proverbs chapter 22, verses 1 through 6. Now remember, Salaki, Proverbs is written by who? By King Solomon, right? Let me get this precept. It's the book of Proverbs chapter 1, and verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. So these proverbs are written by Solomon through the Spirit of the Most High and through his wisdom, and he's writing this to who? To his people, right? So that we may increase in learning, right? A fool, he will read the Proverbs, but he will not increase in learning. A wise man, he will hear the Proverbs, and he will attempt to break them down, and he will attain onto wise counsel, and he will keep on learning it, right? And increase in his knowledge with some understanding, right? But let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. Lord willing, the connection is all right. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Right. So Salaki, it says a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. What is a good name? A good name, because remember, your name is not only your name, right? Yeah, your name could be John, right? Your name could be John. Your name could be whatever, right? Your name could be whatever. That's your name. But your name carries weight. When people think of John, what do they think of? Do they have a positive approach about him? Or do they have a negative approach about him, right? And this goes for anybody. When people hear my name, right? People that know me, when they hear my name, do they think positively about me or do they think negatively about me? Because your name carries weight and reputation. So, like, for example, if somebody said, hey, I'm coming in the name of Satan, Satan has a very, very bad reputation, a bad name, right? For example, and another example is who? When we hear the name Yahweh, Yahweh has a very good reputation. That's our God, right? That's the God of war, right? That's the God of the whole earth. That's the God of the heavens. Those are good things. You see that? So your name carries weight because as your name also, with your name also comes your reputation, right? Do you have a bad name or do you have a good name? That's why a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, right? Great riches can only give you so much, but a good name, it lasts forever, right? Let's go to the book because we still remember Moses, right? Damn near 4,000 years ago, right? All those acts were made through the power of the Most High with Moses, by Moses, right? Leading his people out of Egypt, right? Being in the wilderness, hitting his staff with a slakia, hitting a rock with his staff and water coming out. All these miracles that were done with through the power of the Most High by Moses, we still remember him, and he has a good name amongst the Israelites, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 1. Solomon says it again. A good name is better than precious ointment. So a good name, that's better than precious ointment. Because what the hell, oil can only, you just put it on your body. Now it's gone. Now it's seeping through your pores, but that's it, right? A good name is way better than precious ointment or any money that you can get, right? Because a lot of rich people, they can have all the money they want. If they don't have a good name, no one really cares, man. Right? When they die, that's it. Nobody's going to think about it. Nobody's going to remember them to be some great person, right? A good name is better than precious ointment in the day of death than the day of one's birth. You see that? So you want a good name. You want to have a good reputation amongst people, right? Let's go to the book of Colossians, especially us in this truth as well, right? Colossians chapter 4 and verse 5. Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how ye ought to answer every man. So you want to walk with wisdom to those that are without. Those that are without, meaning those that are outside of this truth. Those of us that's in this truth, we want to be circumspect to what we're saying. We want our speech to be always seasoned with salt, right? And grace. Meaning that what? We're choosing our words wisely. Like it says, the wise man, he's going to weigh his words in a balance, basically, right? A wise man, he keepeth it until afterwards. A wise man, he knows when to say things and when not to say things, knowing his time, right? Like it says in the book of Sirach, the 20th chapter. So, I'm going to read that again. Colossians chapter 4 and verse 5, walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time, right? So you want to have an all right name to those that's outside of the truth, that the ministry be not blamed, because you don't want the ministry to be blamed. Everywhere you go, you don't want to be saying, the white man's a devil. Hey, you don't want to call your boss, if he's an Edomite, you're a damn devil. You're an Edomite. You're going to be put in slavery, right? Even though, right, we might do that out in the highways and byways, right? That's the time and the place for that. But you want to walk in wisdom to those that are without. When people hear your name, still, even though we know you shouldn't care really. At one point in time, right? Sometimes you shouldn't care what people think, right? You don't want to say, well, I want to have a good name, so I'm not going to go out into the highways and byways. No, that's not wise at all. That's not expedient at all, right? You should still go out into the highways and byways. You should still post that Instagram post. You should still put out those videos, right? Don't really give a damn what people think. But you still want to take into account that, look, I have to walk with wisdom to those that are without. I want to have a good name all around. Even in people in this truth, you want to have a good name, right? When people hear your name, they like, hey, that's a good brother, or that's a good sister, right? I never heard anything dirty about them. I haven't heard anything bad about them, right? That's a good name right there. You know what I'm saying? So you want to have a good name with people that's in this truth, and even to a certain extent to those that's outside of the truth. Even when people hear your name that's not in the truth, they should still say, oh, that's a good person right there. You know what I'm saying? That's a good man or a good woman, especially amongst those of our own nation. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because that's being that light. Let me go to the book of Matthew. Even the Apostle Paul said, if it be possible, be peaceable with all men. You know what I'm saying? So we have to walk in with wisdom. All right. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 13. It says, Slakia, not 13, right? Verse 16, it says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. All right, so walk as that light, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. You see that? So you want people to love you, right? And we, that on another level, love is keeping the commandments, right? But you want people to love you, have loving favor for you rather than silver and gold. Silver and gold is perishable. It can easily be taken away. A thief can come in and steal it, right? It can easily be destroyed. But a good name, you can't destroy a good name. You know what I'm saying? Unless you commit certain acts, and that damages your reputation, right? But a good name is not tangible, right? Verse 2, the rich and poor meet together. The Lord is a maker of them all. So the rich and poor meet together, meaning they have this thing in common, right? The Lord is the maker of them all, right? The Lord, he makes all things. He creates the light, he creates the good, right? And he creates the evil, right? The Lord, he does all things, and he has created all things. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 45 and verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all things, all these things. So the Lord, he creates all things, and he does all things, right? So come on, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So this is going into using wisdom, because a prudent man, prudent means you're wise, right? You're subtle. So a prudent man, a wise man, he foresees the evil and hideth himself. So this man, he's using proper wisdom, right? Even let's apply this to Jacob's trouble. A wise man that the Lord had, or it's lucky. Let me get this precept in Isaiah chapter 33, right? Isaiah 33 and verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Now we know that wisdom and knowledge is the fear of the Lord, and knowing these precepts, knowing the breakdowns, knowing that, basically knowing the scriptures, right? Knowing the scriptures. You want to know that when all hell breaks loose. If you do not know the scriptures, right, your chances on a physical level of being saved is very, very low, right? Very, very low, right? We need to know these scriptures. But again, let's apply this to Jacob's trouble. A man with wisdom, because it says that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. That's what's going to keep you stable. That's what's going to get you salvation in the time of what? Jacob's trouble. A wise man, he will foresee the evil. He will see that, oh, look, we can't go that way because, I saw some damn gangs over there. So we can't go that way. We have to go this way. And he will hide himself. But he'll pass on and he'll be punished, right? He'll pass on and be like, just walking. He's simple. He does not have that wisdom with him, right? And he's going to be punished, right? If that makes sense. Let's keep going. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 4. By humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. So by humility and the fear of the Lord, right? You want to be humble. That's what humility means. The state or act of being humble, lowly, meek. You want to have these characteristics, especially in this truth, in the fear of the Lord, right? Which is what? Getting that knowledge, right? Getting that wisdom. Understanding that the Lord, let me get this, right? Understanding that the Lord is omnipotent. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. What's the things that please the Most High? Keeping the commandments, right? And you having the knowledge of his commandments, right? Verse 20, the fear of the Lord is all wisdom. So the fear of the Lord is all wisdom. That's wisdom right there. And then all wisdom is the performance of the law. You can't get around that. That wisdom is you performing the law. That's how you're going to get wisdom, right? And the knowledge of his omnipotency. You understanding that the Lord is omnipotent. He has all power, all sovereignty. And that's you. And when you realize that the Lord has all power over every single thing, every single thing that moves, that breathes, right? That walks upon the ground, that flies in the air, that swims in the ocean, whatever. The Lord has power over that. So now you understand that, look, oh, shoot, right? At any given second, I can be destroyed. So now you understand the fear of the Lord. That's wisdom right there. And you understand that if you do not keep these commandments, if you do not do the things that pleases the Lord, you yourself will also be destroyed, right? But it says by humility and the fear of the Lord, you want to be humble, right? Let's get some precepts on that. It's the book of Matthew. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 12. It says, and whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased. If you exalt yourself, you're going to be abased. You're going to be put down on a low level. And he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. If you humble yourself and you understand that you're nothing, that you're dust and ashes, you don't put yourself on a pedestal, you're going to be exalted, right? Because you are humbling yourself, right? You are understanding that you're nothing, right? Even let's go to the book of Genesis, right? It's the book of Genesis, chapter 18 and verse 27. It says, and Abraham answered. Now this is Abraham, right? This is Abraham right here. It says, and Abraham answered and said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. So Abraham himself, right, who is, right, part of the leaders that are written in Second Ezra, I believe the first chapter, right? He said that, look, I'm dust and ashes. Are you better than Abraham? Right? No, we're not better than Abraham. But even Abraham himself said, I'm dust and ashes. That's an act of humility right there. This is the book of Slaki. Yeah, I went to First Peter. This is the book of First Peter, chapter 5 and verse 5. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. That's the act of humility right there. Understanding that there is people over you, right? It says, yea, all of you be subject one to another and be clothed with humility. For God resisteth the proud and giveth grace to the humble. See that? The Most High resisted the proud and he gives grace to the humble. All right? So if you want, we have to be humble, you know? James chapter 5 and verse James chapter 5 and verse Salakia. Where is this at? This is the book of James chapter 4 verse 6. But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but give the grace unto the humble. All right? So we got to be clothed that humility, and we have to walk with humility, right? And by this, by the humility and the fear of the Lord, are riches and honor in life. That's how you obtain these things, all right? Verse 5, Proverbs 22 and 5. Thorns and snares are in the way of the forward. He that doeth keep his soul shall be far from them. Right. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 8, verse 5. It says, whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. See that? So if you keep the commandments, you're not going to feel any evil thing, right? Now we know that persecution is coming, but guess what? Some individuals in this truth that are going to be protected by the Most High, they're not even going to feel any evil thing, right? It's just part of your life, you know what I'm saying? Proverbs chapter 12 and verse, all right, Proverbs 12 and verse 21. There shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief, all right? No wicked is going to happen to the just. No evil thing is going to happen to the just, all right? Because that's why it says thorns and snares are in the way of the forward, right? You're going to be trapped. You're going to be prickled. You're going to be cut up, right? If you're forward, meaning proud, you know what I'm saying? But it says, he that doeth keep his soul shall be far from them. You keep your soul, right? Meaning that what? You're keeping the commandments. Because what does that mean? You're preserving your life. That's what that means. Keeping your soul. You're preserving your life, right? You having care for your soul because you're keeping the commandments. You know that keeping the commandments, if I keep the commandments, I'll be good, right? Because the Lord, that's what the Lord is looking for, right? He has care for his elect. He has care for those that keep his commandments in the nation of Israel. Verse 6, Proverbs 22 and verse 6. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So train up a child the way he should go, right? Teach your child the way of righteousness, so that when he is old, he's not going to depart from it. He's going to be like, look, I've been doing this ever since I was this tall. I can't depart from this. You know that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So with that in mind, you can even apply this to this truth. If you teach your son or your daughter, right, from a very young age, this truth, these precepts, the knowledge, keeping the commandments, believing in Yahweh Shah, believing in the Most High Yahweh, when they are old, they are very, very less likely to depart from it. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been raised in it. It's their customs, right? It's their life, you know? Let's go to the book of Sirach, right? And that makes sense. Sirach chapter 30, verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. So you want to teach your son, all right? Namely, teach your son this truth, all right? Because that's what's going to be best for our people. These commandments, these scriptures, these breakdowns. That's what's best for our people, right? It says, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. When you teach your son, now you're grieving the enemy. Who is the enemy of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? The enemy of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites, are who? Listed in Psalm chapter 82. It says the tabernacles Edom, or the Edomites, right? Or the so-called white people, right? All the other nations are our enemies. Nehemiah 5 and 9, right? Outside of the nation of Israel. So when you teach your son, you grieve them. They're like, damn, why you know, when they see this, when they see older men or even young men knowing this truth, knowing all this knowledge, they're grieved by that. That vexes their spirit, right? Because for so long they've been trying to hide this, right? They've been trying to hide this truth. It says, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. All right. So, let me get this in the book of Deuteronomy. They don't like to see young men knowing knowledge, young so-called black men, so-called Hispanic men, so-called Native American men, knowing all this truth, right? Knowing all this knowledge and wisdom. They don't like to see that, all right? Even women too, for our women, all right? It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 6. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. See that? So the men, right, of Israel are commanded to diligently teach the commandments unto their children, right? That's a commandment. So, hey, basically Proverbs is saying, look, teach your children the commandments, all right? Teach your son the commandments, and teach him, you know, that wisdom and knowledge that you have acquired over the course of your life. You know what I'm saying? And teach him that, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it, because it will stick to him, right? Don't be waiting until he's damn 30 years old, 40 years old, stuff like that, and start teaching them the truth. No, right? You have to teach them when they're young, all right? So with that, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh Shema Mashak Yahushua. Lord willing, this was edifying. Lord willing, I was able through the Spirit to bring some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to the table, all right? So with that, again, all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah.